Welcome to the Owners Club, DeepSpace Dino 20 edition. Now, you might be wondering, what the hell is he talking about? I've never heard this before. Just to very quickly fill you guys in. We've got the Dino 20 here, and we're going to go through the specs, the setup, the weights, and all that less exciting stuff. I won't call it boring, but less exciting stuff than what we did in the actual review. And that's how we're going to run the channel from now on. We're going to have an Owners Club video, and then we're going to have our adventure video. The adventure video will be essentially the review. What can the drone do? What can't it do? And then the Owners Club, we're going to come back afterwards. Hopefully there'll still be a drone left. This is after we've crashed it, by the way, just so you know, and I actually showed this to DeepSpace as well. This is after we've crashed it. There really isn't a mark on it anywhere. There's a couple of scratches on the props. I'll bring you in closer in a little while to have a proper look at it as well. But yeah, so that's going to be how we're going to do it from now on. So we're going to have the adventure videos, which are the reviews, and we're going to have the Owners Club videos, which is the setups, the specs, the weights, the activations, the PIDs, and all that kind of less adventurous stuff, shall we say. Okay, let's go. Owners Club video. We're going to take a look around the DeepSpace Dino 20. Now, there's a few points I need to make that this is going to evolve over time, because of, if you watch the adventure video or the review videos, we used to call them, in that we mentioned that DeepSpace are actually going to send us some more firmer balls, and they're also going to replace these props, and they're going to replace the PID tune as well. So despite the fact that we loved it, DeepSpace have said, yeah, it's brilliant, but let's make it even better. And I absolutely love that about DeepSpace. I genuinely do. Now, at the moment, we've got GemFan props on this, and they are the GemFan 2216S. DeepSpace have said they're okay, but we can do better. So they're going to replace them with the HQ T2.2 by 1.6 by 3 props, as well as, like I said, the harder dampening balls as well, and a new PID tune. So that's what we have on it today, but it is going to change, and we are going to do, obviously, a follow-up adventure video, if you like. That's where we're at today, though, with it. And like I said in the video, you can sort of see when you do a roll, you do get a little bit of body roll movement, a bit like a 1970s Land Rover, Range Rover. I do sort of stand by that. It's very similar to that. You genuinely don't get it in the footage, as you could see, obviously, in the video. You do get a little bit of it in the goggles, and it can be a little bit disconcerting, but it's nothing major. It really isn't. But I also get how some new pilots would be like, I can't fly this. I genuinely do. I think for somebody that's flown quads with sort of motors hanging off and props shattered and cameras dangling down, it's not too much of a problem. But I also understand why some people would struggle with it. So fair play to DeepSpace for resolving that issue. Now, this video is the Owners Club video. So we're going to set this thing up. First things first is we're going to plug it in to the USB. Now, at the back, we have a USB-C, which is fantastic, because on these smaller quads, you tend to find manufacturers will sort of scrimp a little bit and they'll stick a USB micro in there. And here's some of the specs. It is a 130mm wheelbase. It takes the DJI O4 Pro and the DJI O4 Lite. You will need an adapter or a wide angle lens to fit a light lens in there, but the mounting patterns of the VTX are the same. On the O4 Pro, you can go from 0 to about 35 degrees camera angle. It's an F405 flight controller with a 20 amp 8-bit, so Blue Jay or BL HelloRadio, depending what your flavor is, but Blue Jay's better. Blue Jay ESC in there as well. It's got a 5-volt 2 amp and a 9-volt 2 amp BEC, 60 megabyte black box. It doesn't support analog because of the chip in there, so you can put analog in there, but yeah, you're right, you're going to struggle with it, so probably avoid it if you want analog. Takes a 3S Lipo. We did fly it on a 2S as well, and you can get away with it. You got less flight time, less kick, but ultimately, if you've got some 2S batteries hanging around, it'll fly, and it'll fly respectively. Don't fly it with the prop guards on if you're going to fly it in 2S, though. It's got an XT30 battery connector around the back. Now, DeepSpace say the average flight time is around about 4 to 9 minutes. We encountered more like 5 minutes was, generally speaking, our average. There is plenty of room on the flight controller if you wanted to add a GPS. And if you want us to add a GPS, then please do let us know in the comments down below. And we can do all that sort of fun speed testing and all that sort of stuff for you as well. But that's the specs and the overview, and that's what it looks like in my hand. Lovely and compact. You can pop it in your pocket and away you go. Let's move on to the next segment. Many hours had passed, and I still wasn't sure whether this was going to work or not. Well, this is genuinely the moment of truth where I've just turned the soldering iron off. It's still bloody hot. We may let out magic smoke, we may not. So we pulled the plug off. We still need to connect to Betaflight. I'm not even convinced it will, but there you go. I did a thing! It actually worked! I did a thing! Okay, so just to identify what the actual problem is and where the problem lies, I wanted to just bring you in a little bit closer. So obviously I've had to solder on the USB. Now, if I just show you there, the pads are incredibly small. I'd probably recommend taking the motors off, taking the flight controller off and flipping it over, and it'd be a lot easier to do it that way. Doing it through that small hole was an absolute nightmare. But this seems to be what the problem is. This is the actual plug that was, and as you can see, it was just glued down. Obviously the impacts that we've given it at the weekend have dislodged it, and that's why we had that problem with it. So it's just something to bear in mind. You know, all manufacturers sometimes do stuff that we question. This is definitely something that I would find a little bit questionable from DeepSpace. I've got to be completely honest with you. But apart from that, it's a phenomenal, brilliant drone, and you've got space on that flight controller to expand as well. If yours happens to suffer the same fate, in your box is this instruction leaflet, and in this leaflet is actually the pinout. It's a straight pinout, nothing needs to be crossed over, but obviously you need to do it upside down for it to make sense, essentially. But yeah, it's all really straightforward. It's just really, really fiddly. But the great thing is, if you do happen to crash it into Boy Wonder's head like I did, you can fix it. We've hit the bind receiver option. And if we go over to the PC, you can see we are flashing twice, which means we are in bind mode. Let us remove the soldering iron. We need to turn on our controller. Just be very careful with this, because that solder joint is not the best in the world. But we're going to turn on our controller. And we want to do it by pressing the power button. You need to press your system button, this screen, where it says ELRS. And in that, you need to go in, you need to scroll to the bottom, and you need to press bind. Now, I'm going to move the drone into the view so you can see the two flashing here. And as I press bind here now, you can see that the LED is changing status, and it's gone blue to tell us we're connected. If you look in this corner as well, you can also see a C there, confirming we are now connected to the drone. So, you have connected your ELRS. Now, if you are having issues connecting your ELRS, it could well be that your version of ELRS is ELRS 4. And if you look in the bottom here, it says 3.5.6. I do have a video out there to show you how to check what version of ELRS you're on and whether or not that is the thing that's causing your connection problems. Now we're in Betaflight, what we can do is we can check to make sure that our sticks are moving in the right way. So we know that's our roll stick and it's moving right and left. When we move it right and left, and our pitch is moving up and down, and our yaw is moving left and right, and our throttle is moving up and down. The other thing you need to check as well is to make sure that your buttons are mapped in here as well. So, shut up. So my buttons are all mapped. I do need to do a special function for these ones at the back, but not today. Okay, so the first job that you're going to do is, and the reason for this is you can then go away and charge your controller if you called me, is you're going to come into here. Now you've got hide unused modes. If you disable that, it's going to show you all of the others. Now I did get asked the other day, do I have to have different mode? Do I have to have angle mode, or can I just have air mode, or can I just have acro mode? And the answer is you can have whatever you want. The only thing that you need to have in here is an arm switch. Now we've set the arm switch to auto, and I'm just going to flick the button that I want, and it's in the position where I want it to arm. So if we look here now, we can see this is what moves. So we need to make sure that this covers it in the position we want it to be in, and it does. So we just need to now shut up, hit save. If you wanted angle mode, altitude hold, obviously you've not got a GPS for this, but you do have GPS pads for it, so you can expand it and add a GPS to it. If you want me to add a GPS and do a speed test, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so let's go through everything to make sure that it's all set up correctly. Now, I am going to save a backup of this and upload this to my Discord. Just keep in mind, DeepSpace are going to issue a new PID tune very shortly. But first of all, we need to check a couple of things. If we are on ELRS, we need to make sure that our configuration is set to UART1 and our serial is set to UART4. If you're on the DJI S-Bus system, your serial needs to be set to UART number 6. You also need to reflash it with S-Bus as the receiver protocol as well. In configuration, there's a couple of things that you need to check in here. I'm glad that we can make this bigger. I didn't know we could do this. The main thing is maximum arming angle in degrees. It has to be 180 degrees. Otherwise, if you're stuck in a tree like that, you ain't going to get it armed if it's set to 25%. The rest of this is whether you want air mode on permanently or whether you want on a switch like we showed you the other day. For quads like this, personally, I would just leave air mode on. Make sure you've got LED strip if you've got an LED, but make sure you've got OSD selected in here. Power and battery needs to be set to 4.4 volts because you're going to be using LIHVs on this. Otherwise, it'll report it as a dead 4-cell as opposed to a fully charged 3-cell LIHV. Failsafe, well, we don't have a GPS in this, so we need to have it set to drop, and it is set to drop. So we don't need to worry or touch anything else in here at this moment in time. Again, if you want me to add a GPS and do GPS rescue, altitude hold, and all that funky jazz, let me know in the comments down below. Presets, we can apply the 250 Hz presets for ELRS. Why is everything going across the top of the screen? I do not know. I'm just going to close that for now, because every time I open something, it opens on a new page. This is the PID tune. Like I say, I will show it, I will save it, but there is going to be a new one, and these are your filters. Again, probably new filters as well. In here, this is how I've got the rate set up. So I've got 200 as my center sensitivity and 850 as my max rate, and I've got no expo. Receiver we've done, modes we've done, GPS we don't need to do because there is no GPS. The only other thing you really need to look at in here now is your OSD. Very, very personal. One person's OSD is not going to be another person's OSD, but in here you can set whatever you want, throttle position, amp draw, so on and so forth. And that's all you need to do in here for your setup. And you're now ready to go and fly. You've got an arm set. You've got everything else is done because it's a bind and fly. You don't need to change the motors or anything like that. The only thing you would need to do, if you have a brand new 04 Pro, would be to activate and update it on the DJI Assistant 2. Now, I've got a video that I'm going to link there of how to do that. I'm not going to include that in this one because we've got a video for it. So, yeah. Okay, so DeepSpace quote this as 95 grams. We might have saved a little bit away. Oh, no, 95 grams without the 04 Pro, sorry. So it's 114 grams with the 04 Pro. Now, let's grab ourselves a 550 mAh 3S Lipo. That takes us to 157 grams. And the other batteries we used were this 450 mAh 3S LIHV coming in at 150 grams. And we use this Dogcom 560 mAh, which I think is probably the best. I said that about the Mario as well. And that's also 157 grams. So an extra 10 milliamp hours for the same weight as the 550 from Beta FPV. Really light drone. Now, one question, and that's with the prop guards as well, by the way. If we take the prop guards off, it's going to weigh less, of course. Okay, so time for the weight check without the prop guards now then. And we can see the drone comes in at 106 grams with the 04 Pro. With the Dogcom, 149 grams. With the 450, 142 grams. And with the 550 from Beta FPV, 149 grams. So as I mentioned, with the prop guards on, I would recommend the Dogcom 560 mAh. Okay, now obviously in the adventure video, and I'm going to refer to it as the adventure video, we used to refer to them as reviews. We pretended that we didn't know how to put the prop guards on And that was just for a little bit of entertainment. The way you put the prop guards on is you put it underneath the frame. Oh no. Oh no, that screw doesn't want to move. Yeah, so you put the prop guards underneath the frame, then you put the screws through. There are longer screws obviously in the box, and then you just screw the motors in like that. I need to try, I don't have a Dremel, so I need to try and somehow get this rounded screw out of here. So I've been asked for a comparison with regards to the Dino and a couple of the other drones that we've recently featured on the channel. One of them is obviously the Cinewhoop Firefly 20. Now, a slightly different drone there because that does have 4S. It does have the same sort of rough size of props, slightly smaller props actually. These are 2.2 inch, so yeah, interesting. That could well be a good head-to-head. Also the Mario Mini 25, I don't think that's necessarily a fair fight, but if we do it on 3S, it will bring it closer to this little beast. I've also been asked for the Seeker 3. My Seeker 3 is currently undergoing emergency operations because I may have killed it. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So I've got the Rate S30 here, which is essentially the same version of the Seeker 35, albeit not quite as refined. And I'm not sure that we're going to include that one in the comparison, purely because it's 4S, it's 3 inch. It's going to win, isn't it? But we're going to think of some crazy challenges to do with them rather than just flying them around the field and saying, yes, I think this one is better. We're going to try and do more adventurous videos like we did with the Dino. And we're going to, instead of calling them reviews from now on, we're going to call them adventures. And then you can decide whether or not this drone can come with you on an adventure or whether it be one of the others on display here. So if you've got ideas for crazy challenges we can do with them, do let us know in the comments down below. But also let us know in the comments down below if you want to see a comparison, which drones are you wanting to see compared? I have been asked for the Oasis Fly 35 to be part of a comparison as well. And I'll probably include it, but again, I don't necessarily think it's a fair fight. That would be a good companion maybe to go along with this. And then the other thing I've been asked for with regards to the Dino as well is to fly it on a really crazy windy day and see how well it copes with the wind. And obviously, I'm quite happy to do that. So yeah, lots more Dino content coming. Also, when Deep Space send the updated balls and the updated tune and the different props from HQ instead of these gem fans, we're going to take it back out and do another adventure with it there as well. But yeah, let us know in the comments down below what you want to see, what you need to see, what information you need, and well, you know, we'll do it because it's fun and we like having fun. Right, let's move on. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the FPV Owners Club. We're going to do this for every drone we review, and I'll probably circle back around and do it for some other older drones that we haven't done it for as well. A lot of them have either setups in the videos or companions, but we'll try and build up a back catalogue so you guys know exactly where to look, so that when you are looking for a setup video, or you're looking for a PID tune, or you're looking for this, or you're looking for that, it should make it so much easier to find, because you're just going to then have to search the Owners Club and then whichever drone you've got, and away we go. So we're going to try and make it as easy as we can. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below if you have, if you prefer this new format of 2 separate videos, one where we could just go out and have a bit of fun, test the drone to its absolute limits, and then one where we come back in and we're a little bit calmer, a little bit more technical, and we show off the aspects of the drone, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the weight, and all that sort of crazy stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Like the video, hype the video, share the video, do all the weird things I still don't absolutely know what it means. And until next time, remember this: one more day. YouTube and I have had a chat, and we believe that this is the video that you'll like the most. So watch it and let me know if they're right.